to do a huge data dump as quickly as we can. I have familiarity with many of you by way of Gabe. Gabe, I had a pleasure of watching develop into a superstar and a superstar leader and entrepreneur over the last 10 or 11 years. We've known each other, and we've had a chance now to work together with renewable real estate as well. So that's been exciting. So quick background, what makes me qualified to talk to y'all? I'm just very blue collar, middle class upbringing. All four of my grandparents worked at the same factory. My dad worked there, my uncles worked there, my brothers worked there, my cousins worked there. I sure as hell was not going to work there. So I wanted to be rich one day. Can't sing, can't dance, can't rhyme, can't act, can't play an instrument. Not going to do anything illegal. So that left sports. Went on, played college baseball. You got two people in your waiting room. Went on to play college baseball. And while I was playing college baseball, I got introduced to the direct sales network marketing industry at 18. I was an absolute failure for several years. And then finally, it started to work in year 3. It took me 3 years to make any money. Year 5, I was making 25 to 30 grand a month. Year 7, I became a millionaire, and I was at age 25. Company I was a part of went out of business. I bought the assets of that company, created a company called Visalis, and 15-year run. We were the creators and the founders of the Body by Buy 90-day challenge. 2.2 billion in sales, 19 countries. My largest month was 66 million in sales, and with a $49 shake, that's a lot. I had 117,000 active sales distributors in any one given month. That's my largest month of salespeople. My job was to create all the trainings, all the infrastructure, all the scripts, all the recruiting methodologies, all the leadership structures, all the events, A to Z globally, 13 languages, blah, 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 blah. So I share this with you because that's what qualifies me to kind of speak to you on the couple topics that we're going to speak on today. I'm going to share screen and we will get going. So we're going to use this PowerPoint.
And Nick, just so you know who you're talking to today. So everyone on this call right here either runs their own personal team or they have a downline that they're building. So we handpicked everyone in the organization out of the 120 people that we have. These are the ones that have a team or have their own organization and have some sort of influence online that they're using to recruit to their personal team or to their downline. So you're talking to all the qualified people here in the group.
Hell yeah, that's my sweet spot. You know that. So guys, I've got about 55 playlists on different topics. So if you want to go to nixtube.com at any point, there's 5 to 15 videos on 55 playlists on every topic you can think of. Be my guest. So what do you guys want in the most in the next 3 years as individuals? If you want to be interactive, throw it in the chat box. Hey, the number one thing I want, and we can talk business, in the next 3 years is blank. I want to build a team of 200. I want to make $1 million a year. I want to make 5 million in the next 3 years. I want to make whatever. What is your goal in the most in the next 3 years you want to blank? Okay. Now, this is a really important question because everything you want, everything you want is on the other side of influence. Think about that for a moment. Everything you want in this life is just on the other side of influence. Your ability to influence other individuals, groups, people, leaders, followers, your ability to influence gets you to whatever it is that you want or will keep you from having whatever it is that you want. Now let's take that a layer deeper. This is a new piece of content that I came up with about a year ago, and I've only had an opportunity to train it maybe 3 or 4 times. So I'm excited to share it with you guys today. This is called an impact ladder, okay? An impact ladder. And I've been struggling for the last few years to communicate what's in my brain with everything that's happening on social media and influencers and then experts and coaches and authors and thought leaders and all these different words that are brand new to the marketplace in the last 5 to 7 years. These are all brand new terms, right? And I was frustrated. I found myself becoming frustrated. I was having trouble communicating my thoughts around this. And finally it dawned on me. I believe in something called an impact ladder. And Gabe asked me to speak today about leadership. And I figured this was the best time to be able to share this. And All of the places on the impact ladder are important. All of them are useful. All of them bring value. But when you guys leave this planet, what level of impact do you want to make as a woman, as a couple, as an entrepreneur, as a person that walks the earth? What level of impact do you want to make? And I started to structure this in a hierarchy, if you will. And I said, okay, the entry level of impact ladder is accountability partner. You know, you make 10 calls, I make 10 calls. You work out with me, I'll work out with you, I'll push you, you push me. I think that's the entry level of impact. If you can be a great accountability partner to somebody, or if you can have an accountability partner, you guys are providing mutual impact to each other, which is great. From there, I think it's kind of like a manager, right? Somebody that's been giving a title. Their job is to schedule hours and oversee and hold accountable and make sure people are doing what they're supposed to do, make sure the boxes are checked, you know, a manager, right? It's kind of like that next phase of impact ladder. From there, I'm going to go to influencer. Now, this one's interesting because an influencer, 10 years ago, before there was such thing as a social media influencer, my number one recruiting tactic and technique to build a global business that did billions in sales in the direct sales industry was this: take me to the people you know with the most influence. Take me to your influencers. That now is completely different, because now take me to your influencers might mean a bunch of 23-year-old girls that like to show their ass on Instagram. That's not necessarily the type of influencer that I'm trying to build a gigantic organization with, right? So it's got confusing. I told you, it got confusing over the last few years. So now you got to decouple those, because I was really saying, take me to the people who are the leaders in your community. But an influencer is not a leader. We cannot, likes and comments is not leadership, right? Being disconnected through a phone on social media or a computer, making intelligent posts is now a certain type of influence, but it's not leadership. We cannot confuse these two terms, right? Leadership is influence. However, an influencer is not necessarily a leader. They can be, and they might be. All leaders are influencers, but not all influencers are leaders. And I could spend an hour just on this level right here, on my thoughts about it, the responsibility or irresponsibility of it, the chasm that's being created of the lack of leadership because of social media, because of this world of influencers. I could spend an hour here, but I can't today. What I will share is all of us must be, as entrepreneurs and as great sales leaders and great salespeople, we must master social media influencing. Thank God you've got one of the best in the real estate game at it with Gabe. He's one of the best at teaching you how to brand correctly and how to influence through social media. But Gabe's also a leader. So Gabe will tell you, and be the first one right next to me, say, a social media influencer is not a leader, right? And there's a gap between those two things. I think the one above that maybe is a coach, right? The coach expert layer, like where do they fit in? I think they fit in right here. And let me share with you why there's a difference between a coach and a leader. A coach gets paid, an expert gets paid, and if they don't get paid, they don't show up. Try to stop paying your coach and let me know if they show up tomorrow for your lesson, for your workout, for their speech, for their whatever, right? So our coaches and experts, great. Yes. Are they great at what they do? Yes. Do we value them? Hell yes. But if I stop paying, my daughter's gymnastic coach went to the Olympics. He's amazing. He's fantastic. I love the guy. But what do you think is going to happen if I don't pay him? You think he's still going to be a great coach? No, he's not going to be coaching anyone. And that's the difference. And that's why that's below a mentor. And that's why that's below a leader. A coach doesn't bleed when you bleed. A coach doesn't cry. I'm talking about a business coach. They don't cry when you cry. They don't, they don't lose when you lose. This is important. a coach and an expert, a thought leader, they don't lose when you lose. They win whether you win or lose. But there's a place for it, and they're great at what they do, and they're important in their role and function. Okay, thought leader I'll put in there as well. This is the one that's funniest to me. I think, therefore I lead. Can I swear? Like, who the fuck came up with this idea? I think, therefore I lead. That's not a leader, a thought leader. You say cool things on a whatever. No, that's not leadership. That's called philosophy. There's a different term for that, right? Philosophy is people that have critical thinking and they say smart shit, but that's not leadership, right? So I got to give a shout out though to whoever the branding expert was. Like, I'm a thought leader. Like, no, that's not leadership. Okay, and then above that's a mentor. What's the difference between a mentor and coach? They're going to do a lot of the same things, but a mentor is never going to ask you for money. You know, there's never been a time that Gabe's called me like, let me run something past you. I'm like, wait a second, let me set the timer because I'm $500 an hour, Gabe. You know, mentors are people that love you, that have mastery over a topic, and just want to share what's in their heart to help you become successful, whether they get anything out of it or not. And mentors are not going to spend all day. They're not your accountability partner. They're not your babysitter, right? Mentors are going to tell you something every 90 days, every 6 months. And if you don't go do what they shared, they're probably not going to spend any more time mentoring you. But there's a reciprocity about success that we all of us that have been successful, we understand that it's other people that helped us get to where we're at in terms of our mentors. And there's a duty once you've been successful to mentor other people. You know, my phone is always on to anyone in my past that calls me for mentorship. 24/7, I'm there, whether I get any gain of it or not. That's the difference between a coach and a mentor. That's the difference between a mentor and an influencer or a manager or accountability. And then lastly, there's a leader. All right, Nick, what's the difference between a mentor and a leader? Great question. A mentor is there every 3, 6, 12 months. A leader's there every day. And besides mommy or daddy, I believe the greatest thing you could ever be called by someone else is their leader. When you walk in a room and somebody says, that's my leader, I don't think there's a better compliment or a better term that you could ever be called. You might say, oh, that's my coach. Oh, hey, that's my mentor. I don't ever hear anyone say that's my influencer, but you know, it's in there somewhere. That's my manager. Hey, this is my workout partner. But when you say that's my leader, like really, if you guys think in your life, how many times have you been so proud that you've introduced somebody, like someone in your family, to a person said, that's my leader? And I think all of us should strive for the rest of our lives to become the top of the impact ladder, because there's a gap that's widening in not just America, but in this world of true leadership. A leadership bleeds when you bleed. They cry when you cry. They win when you win, and they lose when you lose. And that's why I have so much respect, you know, for Gabe, because, you know, the guy, he doesn't win unless you win. And when you have pain, he has pain. A coach doesn't have that. A leader does. Okay, let's talk about leadership a little bit more in depth. It's a multiplier. What does that mean? Well, this is a personal philosophy. Your dream life is this formula right here. Your mindset plus your skill set times your leadership equals your dream life. So leadership's a multiplier. And I personally believe leadership is your ability to instill mindset and skill set into others. So if you're trying to build a huge organization, number one is you got to master mindset and skill set in yourself. You have to lead yourself. And then number two is you have to master instilling instilling mindset and skill set into others. It's a multiplier. Now, you want to get way down the line, exponential. So instead of multiplying, I guess what you'd put to the 10th power is your ability to create other leaders. And that's a whole nother world, right? So when you can start stamping out leaders on leaders, you have infinite reach and infinite possibility. If you haven't started down the path of studying leadership, I spent a decade studying leadership. My first couple years in studying leadership was just how-tos. John C. Maxwell is the godfather of how-to leadership. Personal mentor, personal friend, dive into any of his content on how-to leadership. And then I spent another couple years on blank on leadership, Martin Luther King on leadership, JFK on leadership. So it's other authors that examine leadership styles of the greatest leaders. And then lastly, I spent 3 or 4 years just reading biographies of the world's greatest leaders. You know, 4, 5, 600-page biographies of people that have changed this world. Because I have a belief, they're just a human, you're just a human, we're all just humans. If they can do it, we can do it. How did they do it? Right? And anyone that's ever had, you know, a massive voice, they did it through leadership. So a couple things from John's first book. Here's the law of leadership. Leadership is influence. That's why I said it was confusing for me. An influencer, leadership is influence, right? Here's some myths about leadership. This person maintains a system, therefore they're a leader. No, they're a manager. Well, this person works for themselves. They're an entrepreneur, they're a great leader. No, they just work for themselves. This person knows so much, they're a leader. No, they're just a genius. This person's a pioneer, therefore they're a leader. No, they just went first. This person has this position, therefore they're a leader. No, that's just a title, right? You can define leadership by one word and one word only, and that's influence. If people follow them, they're a leader. All those other words do not define leadership. And if you think you are leading, but no one is following, then you're only taking a walk, right? So if you're walking, you look behind you and your ass is lonely, that's not leadership, okay? So leadership is the ability to influence those people to take the walk with you. So let's talk about the law of the lid really quickly. If you don't like where your group is at, where your team is at, the size of it, you got to take personal ownership and take personal responsibility always. I don't like every day, I don't like where my new business is at. I take personal ownership of that because the team cannot grow past you, the leader, or me, the leader. And you got to take responsibility, look in the mirror, not out the window. What are you doing right now to grow? Hey, congratulations, we're here. Hopefully I can give you a piece of wisdom that you can grow. But what are you doing daily? What are you inputting? What podcasts, what videos? Are you sitting, are you Netflix and chilling? Why, right? What is that doing for your growth, right? What audiobook are you listening to? What events are you attending? Let's talk about law of process. I'm only gonna do a few of these. You cannot microwave leadership. This is important because we are in the most Insta society that we've ever had, right? Instagram, Insta everything. Everything is Insta, Instacart, Insta, you know, Insta packages at your door. All of it's Insta, but you can't have Insta leader because leadership develops daily. It doesn't develop in a day. It's daily. You can't just say, oh, let me just go ahead and pop Natalie in the microwave here. Boop, she's out. 2-minute leader, right? No, you got to crock pot her, right? That's going to be, it takes years to develop leadership. So what daily habits are you working on to trigger a leadership process? Okay. Here's another one. The law of magnetism. You attract who you are, right? So if you attract who you are, what are the qualities that you want to attract of other people? That's what you got to become, because teams are an extension of their coach's attitude, background, values, life experience, ability. So if you think you need better people, it's time for you to improve yourself, because you can't out recruit your own level, right? You can't out attract your own level. Now you do see some people that they talk about, hey, I'm the greatest salesperson in the world. You meet like really humble men, like, I'm the greatest salesperson in the world. Have you met my wife? You know, I outran my punt coverage on that one, right? That doesn't happen in business. You know, you might get lucky. You might be a great guy that closes the best wife, and you just like, who knows how you got there, buddy? But that doesn't happen in business, right? In business, you get who you are, right? Law of connection. Leaders touch the heart before they ask for the hand. Do this, do that, do this, do that, do this. They'll do it reluctantly until eventually they don't. because they want you to touch their heart. The heart comes before the head. People don't care how much you know until they know how much you care. It's hard to connect with people as a group. You got to connect with people one at a time. You got to get connection. You got to get proximity. You got to get heart to heart. You got to touch people, right? It's the leader's job to create proximity. One of the most impactful things I've ever learned in my life is walk slowly through the crowd. Man, we grew so quickly that crowds went from 10 people in a room to 20,000 people in a football stadium. And those are just the people that showed up for the convention, right? And I always at these events would always say to myself, walk slowly through the crowd, walk slowly through the crowd, walk slowly through the crowd, because you don't know. If you think being in a hurry all the time and just getting the next one, getting the next one, getting the next one, getting the next person, getting the next person is efficient, and that means you're doing a great job leading because you're just talking to everyone as fast as you can. What really happening is that you're actually blowing past your work, because your work is the people, and you got to make sure that you connect with those people and you touch those people. So who in your team right now do you need to slow down and do you need to go connect with, right? And by the way, the bigger this gets, the harder this gets. Okay, there was one more slide that was missing that I thought was the last one. I must have deleted an accident. And it looks like this. The more leadership that you obtain, which means the greater following that you get, your sacrifices go up, or excuse me, your responsibilities go up and your privileges go down. This is called the cost of leadership. Everyone says, I want to be a leader. I want to have 1,000 people that follow me. I want the income. I want the impact. I want the ripple effect. I want the recognition for it. I want the significance of it. The cost of leadership is great, y'all. Cost of being an influencer is not. You make some cool videos and you post some shit, right? The cost of that is low. The cost of leadership is massive. Cost of leadership is, as your leadership increases, so do your responsibilities and your privileges decrease. Your right to shut your phone off at 9 p.m. goes away. Your right to not shake every hand, hug every person goes away. Your right to not deal with bullshit all day long goes away. All those privileges are gone as you choose to lead more and more and more people, right? It's crazy to me. I meet people that are like, man, people call me all day long. All they do is just complain about their problems. I'm like, but you're their leader. That's literally the definition of leadership, is to help them solve their issues, help them solve their problems. Here's a bonus tip for today on leadership, and then we're going to jump off leadership. Bonus tip on leadership is this: where there are cows, there is shit. You would not walk through a cow pasture and be surprised that there was cow shit. It would be completely ridiculous of you to walk through a cow pasture and be like, oh my God, there's cow shit right there. Oh my God, there's cow shit right there. Well, yeah, because where there's cows, there's manure. And when there is people, there are problems. Go hand in hand. And if you're still surprised that your people have problems, you're literally the person that's sitting in a cow pasture surprised that there's cow shit. Because where there's people, there's problem. Where there's cow, there's manure. There's no surprise to that. Get used to it, accept it, and learn to be the greatest problem solver on earth. Let's talk recruiting. Okay. There's two types of things to talk about recruiting. There's tactics and there's mindsets. I'm going to go mindsets, because if you reverse engineer how I personally recruited, I don't know, 1,000 people, and how many of them became millionaires that I personally recruited. You asked me what did you say? What was the script? Fuck if I know. I don't know, right? FIFO. F-I-I-K, but fuck if I know. I don't know what I said. It's not about a tactic. It never was about a tactic for me. It was always about a mindset. So I'm going to talk about the mindset of recruiting, and then you guys can backfill with the tactics in your particular team, because you're actually the experts in the tactics in your team. I'm not. So here's recruiting step one. Recruit yourself first, please. Are you even bought in to what you're recruiting other people for? Like, have you sold out to this yourself? Are you all in, or are you kind of like toe in the water BS, right? How are you going to go sell a dream, create a vision, lead or recruit, recruit dozens or 100, lead 1,000 if you haven't recruited yourself yet? So if you're going to go have like a real truthful talk with yourself, if you got to go find a shaman and do whatever, so or talk to Jesus, I don't know, but you got to have a talk with yourself about whether or not you're all in, because you won't be able to recruit unless you've recruited yourself first. Have you bought you? Okay. Recruiting is about who you are before you ever say a word. So all the tactics go out the window if you haven't recruited you. Who are you being before you get on the phone, before you get on the Zoom, before you walk in the room, before you sit down for coffee with the agent you want to recruit? Who are you and what do you believe about you? Because if you believe, I know exactly where I'm going, I've got exactly the right team, I've picked exactly the right platform, I'm becoming exactly the right person. I didn't say that you are the right person right now in this moment, but any one of you can create a belief right now, I am becoming exactly the right person that all these people need to follow. I'm working with exactly the right leaders, right? If you create those beliefs, your physiology changes. And when your physiology changes and you create core beliefs about yourself and what you're doing, nothing can stop you. Let's talk about what your driving force is. A lot of times they talk about in direct sales or in networking, or now starting to trickle into a lot of businesses, what's your why? What's your why? And then people say cheesy stuff. I just want to help people. I don't know. I don't know if you're going to wake up every day with the fear of God to go make it happen because you just want to help people. I don't believe that. I think you need something desperate. What is your desperate why? I'll tell you what mine was at 18. I had such a desperate fear of mediocrity because I was swimming in it. Everyone in the environment of where I grew up was as mediocre as it gets. And they're all in the same position, talking about this 25 years later, still telling the same football story. 25 years later, my bro, what have you done the last 2.5 decades? We're still talking about the touchdown against the one team. So for me, I had such a desperate why to separate from mediocrity. What's yours? What is your desperate why that you'll do anything and stop to make it happen? You'll stop at nothing to make it work. What gets you up in the morning? What inspires you? What moves you? What are you passionate about? What drives you? You can't be like, oh, I hope, Gabe motivates me today. That's not his job. It's not his job. Your job is to motivate you. I don't know any multimillionaires who are like, I'm so thankful it's Bob there to motivate me every day. No, that doesn't work like that. Your job is to motivate you. He can inspire you, but it's your job to motivate you. You got to have unwavering belief. Nick, I thought we were talking about recruiting. We are. Have you bought you? Do you know what drives you? And do you have unwavering belief? If you don't believe, who will? You're going to go try to recruit? You don't have belief? That doesn't work. You got to have that. You got to build that belief now against all odds. But Nick, you don't understand. My income, my kids, my pet goldfish died. My house is messy. My one of my relatives is sick. Guys, let me tell you about everyone on the phone right now. You either just came out of an issue, you're in an issue right now, or don't worry, you're headed into one in the next few months. You know what that's called? Life. That's called life. And it happens to Natalie, and it happens to Mariana, and it happens to Jacoby and Monica. Life happens to every one of you, and it happens to me. So you got to just put a line in the sand and say, all right, I'm over this bullshit story, and I'm just going to create the belief that I'm going to make it no matter what. Nothing's going to stop me. I don't care what the odds are. That's a belief. It doesn't matter what the reality is in the current moment. You get to create the reality of the future. Think about the belief that I know this looks like Mel Gibson, but he's playing a real man and that was a real story in real life. Like, think about, Martin Luther King, and think about Gandhi, and think about Teddy Roosevelt. Think about these people. Think about Mother Teresa. Think about Oprah. Like, these people, they have belief before they had anything else. Before they had anything else, they had belief. You got to put your house on the line. You got to burn the boats. We either die or we win. There's no retreat. There's no going backwards. There's no giving up. You're either going to win or they're going to find you dead on the side of the road. That's how you recruit? Yes. Because if that's who you are when you walk in the room, the words don't matter anymore. If people look at you and go, I'll follow that person. I'll follow Natalie. I'll follow Maria. She knows where she's going. I don't even know where the hell we're going. Wherever she's going, I'm going. I don't even care. When you can create that type of aura and energy, or as the kids call it today, that vibe, when you can create that vibe, right? Everybody's in. What's the easiest way to recruit people, Nick? You have the vibe. You just walk in and people are like, shit, I don't know what they're doing, but I'm doing it too. That's the easiest way to recruit. And all of that is energy and belief. And where does that stem from? Belief. All of these things that we're talking about right now has nothing to do with the script. Now, let's talk a little bit of tactics, but it's going to feed right into everything I just shared with you. Influence boiled down to 3 components: your words, your voice qualities, and your presence, your body language. Only one of them matters. You walk in the room and you have the right physiology, you can jack up the whole presentation. You could say it ass backwards. You could say it with poor voice qualities. You're going to get 55% of the people. Now, you get the right voice qualities to match the body language, you got 85% of the room. The words don't matter. It's the last piece. But let's say you get the words right and you do this. Hi, everybody. I'm Steve, and I've got a multi-million-dollar business opportunity. We're the #1 fastest growing and largest agency in the world. You're going to be rich. I'm going to be rich. Woo-hoo. Those are all the right words, but it sure as hell ain't the right voice qualities. And it sure as hell is not the right physiology, body language, right? You guys should never get on a call or walk in a room to recruit somebody, or sit down at the Starbucks with your no longer $5 gift cards. You got to have the physiology right. You better check yourself every time for physiology before you take on any call. And you got to know your triggers. How do you instantly reset? How do you instantly reset? If you're off, you go do 10 jumping jacks, do 10 push-ups, listen to a song for 60 seconds that gets you hype, clap your hands, jump up and down. I don't care. You have to figure out how to get your body moving and going, to get your energy up, so your physiology is up, because people follow congruency. And if you're incongruent, I don't care how good the words are that you say, they ain't following. And then lastly, you can't recruit without mojo. You got to bring the mojo. You can connect. You can connect at a heart level. You can connect with empathy. You can connect. People go, wow, she was great. Wow, I really like Monica. Leo's actually, Leo, that picture, that's mojo right there. Leo, everyone look at Leo's picture. That's mojo, right? You got to have mojo. People they feel it. My favorite quote of all time, it's actually on a neon sign downstairs in my living room. Don't have a wishbone or a backbone ought to be. I've actually found out it's Clementine Paddleford. And she's actually talking to her daughter. The quote is, "My daughter, comma, don't have a wishbone where a backbone ought to be." So when you walk in that room, or when you get on that phone, or when you take that Zoom, you better have a backbone and bring the mojo. So little recap, here's a little recruiting formula. Have belief in congruency, talk to everyone everywhere, then figure out what the right thing is to say, and you must take consistent daily action. You can't recruit once a month. You can't recruit once a week. How do you get healthy? Every day. You work out 40 minutes every day. Well, I'm going to take the next 7 days off and work out for 7 hours. Doesn't work like that. Body doesn't care. You want to build a team? Recruit every day. A little bit on culture of building a team, and then we're done. Topic number 3, and we're out. Here's who I like to work with. People that dream big, get shit done, and know how to have fun. What's your 3? What's your circles? All right, this is my circles. What's your circles? You want to build a great team? Here's your starter kit. Called the Build a Team Starter Kit. I've sold so many books for these 3. Start with Why, Simon Sinek. The Culture Code, best book I've ever read on the topic of culture. I recommend it to everybody. And then Tribes by Seth Godin. 3 phenomenal books if you're going to be a great team builder. So you're going to build a great team, starts with vision. Vision is the art of seeing what is invisible to others. Vision is the ability to see what is invisible to others. Here's another quote by Helen Keller. I might get it wrong, but she was asked by some dipshit reporter, is there anything worse than being blind? And she said, yes, having eyes, but no vision. And she says having eyes, she said, being able to see and having no vision. Oh, because there's a blind deaf woman. If you guys have not researched Helen Keller, I'm actually ashamed of our like, I don't know if it's not history, but just our educators or whatever. We talk about people that are of influential or inspirational. She might be the most inspirational person that I've ever read about. What you think you know about her? Oh, well, women's advocate and women's suffrage movement, and she was blind and she was deaf and she could. No. This woman wrote like 20 books. This woman graduated from Harvard. Guys, I dropped out of community college. Like, what other blind deaf person graduated from Harvard? Like, she's one of the greatest stories of inspiration. I recommend researching it, everybody. Okay, let's talk about recruiting a killer sales tribe. Salespeople, over all people, are attracted to vision. Tech people, all people are attracted to vision, but salespeople, man, it's their heartbeat, it's their oxygen. It's their oxygen. If salespeople don't have vision, they die. You got to be pumping vision to your team at all times. Company's vision, team's vision, your vision, their vision. That's a formula. Company's vision, your team's vision, your vision, their vision. Those are the 4 visions you're constantly communicating. So this is a generic deck that sometimes I train in other industries. You guys are the top sales leader. So you have to be the #1 recruiter. You have to be running your transactional volume. Like, people, if you're recruiting other salespeople and other sales leaders, you have to be one. You can't outsource this at what you're doing at EXP. It's impossible. You can't outsource recruiting. You can't outsource, sales. Like, you have to do it. You have to master it. Go after top talent. This is a hack. Top talent doesn't need to be managed. They need to be led. I don't hire anybody who needs to be managed. People who are top talents, they manage themselves and they are led by great leaders. So if you want to have a great team, go after top talent. What a shortcut that is. I look for values over skills. So this is literally how I recruit my own team. I got 2 people. This person's got all the skills and less values. This person has less skills and more values. I'm going values. Why? Because skills is short-term gain. Values is long-term stability. If you can find people with both, you hit the jackpot. You can teach skills. You can't teach values unless they're 5. If you're sitting there with a 40-year-old trying to teach them values, you got a problem, right? Like, you can't teach values to an adult. They have to have some sort of moment in life that's so detrimental that they choose to change their values. You can't teach a person values. That's an adult. Again, some of this doesn't apply. Number 3 does. You can't have secret agents. And by the way, you can't be a secret agent. What's a secret agent? If I can't go to all of your social media right now and see what you do in your career everywhere, you're a secret agent. If you're not lighting up your social media, if I can't go to a barbecue and just be so annoyed by you because you talk about what you do so much, then you're a secret agent, right? If you're not going to talk about what you do, who the hell is? I want your family to stop inviting you to the Sunday, dinners because you recruit all the new people that show up. They're just so annoyed by you. That's what you do. Well, I can't do that. I'm embarrassed. Okay. You sure you want in 3 years what you said you wanted? Because leadership and recruiting are required. So you either got to walk away from your dream or be uncomfortable making other people uncomfortable. I'm going to say that again. You got to be comfortable making other people uncomfortable. How do you think about these stories of these musicians that were just like hustling their own CDs out of their trunk for $5 a CD, nonstop, just talking to people, talking to strangers, talking to a stick if they thought the stick would talk back. That's who you got to be. The world is noisy right now. You think because you made one post 2 weeks ago about real estate that anybody knows or cares? They don't. The marketplace is too noisy. You got to be louder. Equipping a killer sales tribe. People don't duplicate. Systems do. So you have to create systems as a team and microsystems as a sub-team that people can walk into and run. Because people don't duplicate, systems do. You must have process and systems that can scale. If not, you will be limited, or you'll constantly have a revolving door. In order to scale with speed, you must have process and you must have systems. We do X amount of calls a day, X amount of prospecting a day, X amount of whatever a week, X amount of presentations per day, like systems and processes, scripting, all of it. Training, development, growth. Everything you've done, you must ask yourself, how many more people can do this? This is 2 questions. Let's say right now you did a presentation. Okay, how many more people can do that presentation? Shit, none. Why? I didn't record it. I don't have a how-to video for it. There's no way for them to access it in a database. It doesn't live anywhere. And then second question, how quickly can they do it? How many people and how quickly? That's the math equation you're trying to solve in scaling a big team. And then lastly, how do you retain a killer sales tribe? Onboarding starts with onboarding. You bring someone on the wrong way, good luck undoing whatever it is you're trying to change later. Technology and tools, lead flow, growth, freedom, compensation, recognition, experiential / lifestyle, new products, market expansion, hire slow, fire fast. In your industry, you can't necessarily fire someone, but you can absolutely cut them out of the culture. You can just say, look, build it all you want, but go sit over there. Because if you don't fit the culture, we ain't got time for that. So that's recruiting, equipping, and retaining a killer sales tribe. I think I am done. So nixtube.com, you can find a bunch of the stuff. I hope this has been useful. Gabe, I'll kick it to you if there's anything else you want me to share or add or any question follow-up. I'm sure I went over, but hopefully this is good for everybody.
Shit, I don't even know what to say after that. That's incredible. Yeah, I don't even, honestly, Nick, I'm gonna tell you, man, been a fan of yours for years, but I took here 1, 2, 3.5 pages of notes, and incredible. Team, I want to give you guys an opportunity. You know, Nick's a good friend and a mentor of mine for many years, and I just want to go ahead and just honor him. I just want us all to honor him really quickly by just sharing maybe one thing that you took away, a big aha
That'd be
moment.
great.
So if you guys can please go ahead and just share some feedback with him. Let's honor him, respect him by just giving him some feedback. So open mic, someone jump in. Go ahead and start.
I love what you
the
said.
difference between influence. Oh, I'm sorry.
Go for it. Go for it. Go for
Sorry,
it.
Leo. I love the difference between influence and leadership. How nowadays we tend to look at influencers and it's not really the definition of what a leader is, and how a lot of people look at them and they think that an influencer is also a leader, and it's really not. They're two different meanings to them. So I really like that.
Beautiful. Let's create leaders. Leo, hit me.
Yes. Yeah, you got to be comfortable with making other people feel uncomfortable, or you
Yes,
stop
sir.
getting invited to the parties. I resonated with that so much. That was so fire, man. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, buddy. Two
For me, it
more?
was the definition of leadership. You know, leadership is your ability to instill mindset and skill set. I truly believe on that. Yes. And what Leo said as well.
Beautiful. One more?
I like walk slow through the crowd.
Nice. Thank you, Maria. Well, gang, it's 3 o'clock. I have to jump, and I just want to say thank you again for having me. I will do this as much as you guys like, or Gabe wants to utilize us. We're doing a little bit of business together too, so I'll never be a stranger. Whatever you need from me, let me know. And Gabe, grateful as always.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate you.
So much.
My team.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate you
Thank
guys.